Hi George, thanks for writing the small essay about if you were a bird. I received it day before yesterday. I liked what you've written. It is very cute and beautiful writing. There is a beautiful imagination with which you have written it. I have written the comments on the right hand side. I've marked separately each portion on which I'm commenting. Let me take you through that. That'll be helpful. This is how I'm going to give you the comments in future. Might not be so much in detail written there. Gradually, I suppose you will get used to it, and my comments will be more verbal, more on the in the video as an audio, and less of the text. This time I've given you separate sub pointers because I want you to write answers to each of that, and therefore make your essay much more, build it up based on those pointers or questions I'm asking. If I were a bird, this is the first part which I would like to comment about. This part. So the comment I've given is, perhaps you could have used another title, George. Next time, I would like you to imagine that you are really a violet crowned hummingbird. You don't have to necessarily write it in future tense, though I have given the topic like that. When you are writing a descriptive, doing a narrative or a descriptive writing, you can imagine yourself as that and narrate a particular aspect of it, more like a story or uh, a little bit of with details and stuff. Next time, I would like you to imagine that you are a violet crowned hummingbird. Rewrite the essay in present or past tense. When you're rewriting, make it in past tense or in present tense ideally. You have been a bird only. And as a bird, what you are, that's what you should be writing. So it can ideally be in present tense. Use the questions or tips I've given to answer and elaborate your writing with more details and ideas. If you notice each marked portion from here, these yellow marked portions, I have comments separately, and I have named it like 2A, 2B, like that. So each of that, if you are taking care to answer, explain, detail out, your writing will become 5 times bigger. So that's what my challenge here is, I guess. Being able to write more and still keep the reader engaged is really the challenge. You should be writing more, and you should be writing more with convincing reasoning and interesting details, and the structure of the sentences, the ideas you're expressing, the choice of words, the idioms and phrases in the vocabulary, and the imagery you're bringing in your writing. That's what is going to make or break your writing. So I will help you with that. So let's go on to the actual passage. I would like to be a violet-crowned hummingbird. So this part, I have given you a lot of pointers here. Try writing at least 3 sentences each for these points below. It helps to explain the bird with more details, physical details like size, look, color, etc. There's a particular weight a hummingbird has. That's some 21 grams is what I remember, if I remember it correctly. And there are different types of hummingbirds. And why you would like to be a violet crowned hummingbird? How is that different from others, and what are the peculiarities? You can talk about all that. It helps to explain the bird with more details. I already read that. You could also talk about how you know this bird. Did you see this, read about this bird in a cartoon or a video, or probably you read a book about it, or in some class some teacher would have explained this to you and then you got fascinated. Tell us about that incident. Tell us about how you came to know about this bird. Now, next point is maybe write about the first time you saw it or came to know about it from book or video. That's what I said already. Tell us what fascinated you to this particular bird. By now, you must have written at least 10 sentences. If you answer to all these, you would have already written 10, probably even 15 sentences. That's a huge jump from what you've already doing. So next portion is, because hummingbirds can move backwards, forwards and sideways and can fly very fast. In fact, hummingbirds has a peculiarity. They can stay still in one spot, and because they flap their wings at a particular speed which is very high. They are able to stay still like a helicopter. As no other bird is able to do that. Maybe you can talk about such peculiarities when you're talking about their peculiarity of flying backwards, forwards, and sideways. Sideways, you can talk about. You should be talking in comparison to other birds. No other bird is the bird is able to do that, and flying birds are able to do. The hummingbirds are able to do it. Is it only that the violet-crowned hummingbird is able to do it, or all other types of hummingbirds are also able to do it? And you haven't given any geographical location to where you are. Are you in America or Africa or Asia or Europe, or where are you? So give some clues about where you like to be. Hummingbirds can be in there. You can also talk about which are the places hummingbirds are usually found and not found, and what kind of climate and topography and nature, what kind of atmosphere they like. You can give a little more information about these hummingbirds, so you can make your essay a little informative and entertaining. So try to include such details. I'm sure you know some details about it. I would like to have four brothers. I would like to have four brothers. Let me see. It helps to mention as a bird I would like to have. Yeah, instead of just, yeah, because when you're reading the passage, uh, it is still not set into my head that you're a hummingbird. You're talking about a hummingbird. So you can set the context in the second para also. As a bird, I'd like to have four brothers. Something like that. And why four brothers and no sisters? And what are you, a male or a female? What is it? So you can talk about that, and you can also talk about the funny reason probably you might be having about only brothers and no sister. I don't want any sister. You probably might have a reason there. Tell us about that. It might be interesting. I would make my nest on the branch of a safe tree. Do you want to explain why safe tree? What kind of predators you're scared of? Maybe you can talk about that. Why you want a safe tree near a garden with a lot of flowers? That's something which you should have built up with a lot of flowers. You have to say that you are taking it for granted. You are assuming that the reader already knows that the hummingbirds live on nectar, but it need not be. It could be a classmate of yours who will be reading it. So you have to make pack a lot of information in your essays. So what do you say? Hummingbirds usually they feast on this nectar from flowers. So it is important to live near a garden where there are a lot of flowers, and all kind of flowers doesn't have nectar maybe. So you might want to talk about what kind of flowers, and out of that, what kind of flowers you like. You've already mentioned it down here. Hibiscus flowers you've mentioned. I like the hibiscus flowers you mentioned. Okay, I'll come to that. I'll use moss, thistles, dandelion, spider silk, cotton fiber, small bits of leaves, feathers, fuzz, and hairs for my nest. Typically, the male or female. I think the female makes the nest. So, are you a female hummingbird? Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe the male makes. Probably you can clarify those things. Or you together make nest. When I wake up, I'll fly to a flower and drink its nectar. You can probably talk about the flowers which bloomed in over that night, in that morning, and you will have plenty of opportunity to have different types of nectar. Or is it that you like a particular kind of nectar, and you can explain why? I like the hibiscus flowers. You have to tell us why you like hibiscus flowers. Maybe it has more nectar in one flower. I don't know. There are different types of hibiscus flowers. So is there a particular one? You can get into small it is, not too much. My friends and I will play. That could have been actually another paragraph. My friends and I will play games like fly tag, hide and seek, and so on. And what is the experience of it? When do you find time to play? After you have food, you go straight for playing with your friends. What kind of friends you have? Where do they live? Do you have a name? You have not mentioned whether you have a name or not. That's why I'm not able to make out whether it's a male or a female also, probably. Have you found a name for yourself when you're becoming a bird? figure out those things. So they like that, get into the details. We'll fly on top of the river and watch the water flowing down the river. That was a this part of the passage is the most beautiful, where you're sharing your experience, George. That is what makes writing more personal. So this is an experience of going to the river. Which river it is? How big is the river? How high above the river you're going to fly, and do what? You just stare at the river, the water flowing down. What about the light falling upon it? What about the water which is spraying from that? Probably, coming up. I don't know. You probably have to give a little more details about the visual experience you might be having when you're, do you feel a little dizzy after staring into the flowing river for a while? Then what do you do? Do you get a place to rest, and do you play a game there? Do you fly across the river and go to the other shore? I don't know. You can probably be a little more imaginative there and take the reader along with you. If I'm bored, I will go to an abandoned hole and sit there. Oh, you're talking about taking rest and probably meditating, taking sleeping. Where do you find this abandoned hole? Why you can't go home and rest? Probably that's a question the reader might be having immediately in their mind. So maybe you should talk about why you have to go to an abandoned hole and sit there, because you don't want your parents to see you, or your friends and the four brothers to come and disturb you. So you might have a reason. I would like to hear that reason. Then I will enjoy being a bird because I can fly and see things from the top. What's so much fun about seeing things from the top? Come out with, let's say, five beautiful aspects of it. You can give us five reasonings. Come on, George, you can do that. Conclude with a comment on your life as a bird. Say something that inspires others about your life as a bird. You should be able to write a conclusion which is uh, summing up what your experience is, what your hope is, something like that. And by now I'm sure you would have written. If you do all these, if you explain all these, I'm sure you will be able to write probably 2 pages. So I look forward to that passage you're going to write. Thank you.